guys, welcome back. This is going to be part 5 of the Paperboy restore. I let this sit overnight, so now the resin is dry, and I'm going to use my big sander with 80 grit sandpaper, and we're going to knock this down real quick, and then start filling in these edges with a little bit of body filler so that we can straighten them out. And then after that, I want to roll the cabinet over and do a coat of fiberglass resin on the other side around the perimeter and let that set overnight. So let me sand for a couple minutes with the sander, and then I will stop the video for a few and come back after I get all the edges sanded. This sands pretty quick. Okay, as you can see how quick that sands. It's sanded down. I'm going to get this blown off and then mix up some filler. We're going to come in and put filler around these edges. Then I'm going to let that set up for a little bit. A couple drips right here I'm going to have to sand off because you can't get this stuff off. It doesn't want to pick off. But I'm going to mix up some filler, and then I'll come back. We'll put that on, let it dry, sand it down. I'm going to sand the edges with the block sander, and then probably have to do 1 or 2 coats, and then at that point we'll be able to flip it over and put the resin on the other side. Now, when I had talked about this cabinet, I originally thought I had a blown out corner and we were going to have to do some fiberglass work to it. Well, it turns out this cabinet was in better shape than I thought, but I do have a video on my Tapper restore, I think it's part 6, that shows me fixing a blown out corner of particle board with fiberglass resin. So if anybody's interested to see how I did that, just go back to Tapper Restore, and I think it was either part 5 or 6, maybe part 5, I'm not positive, but yeah, go back and look at that and you'll be able to see how I use the fiberglass resin with screws to fix the corner. So all right, let me get this cleaned off and then I'll be back with some body filler. Okay, I'm gonna get some filler mixed up here. And this is just different. I use a couple different ones. I've been using this because I got it on sale. I don't remember if I got it off of Amazon or eBay, but it's made by U-Pull. It's called Dolphin Glaze. This is a finer body filler. We don't have super big areas to fill in, so we don't need to use regular Bondo. We can use this stuff, which is a thinner product, and it goes on a little smoother and sands a little bit better. So we're going to put some on this board here. And I kind of just guess at how much hardener to put in it because I've done it for a long time, so I got a pretty good idea on how much to put in here. So a puddle this big, I'll put a pretty decent amount of hardener. Then we got to mix it up really good. Don't stir it, okay? The easiest way is to go like this and kind of knead it together. and fold it over, but don't sit there and stir it in circles. If you stir it, you're gonna create air bubbles in your filler, and then you're just gonna have to mix up more and sand it again because you're gonna have a bunch of filler or bubbles in your filler. So we just wanna make sure it's all a consistent, same color. And then we can start putting it on around the edges. This is, it's not real bad there either. But more than likely you gotta do 2 coats. Usually you don't get it on the first coat. Piece of dirt in there. And you just take your time and put it around the edge. The smoother you apply it, the less sanding you have to do. But don't apply it so smooth that you don't have enough on there either. Sometimes it's better to build up this edge a little bit, so I'm actually gonna leave a little bit of a ridge around the edge like that, just to fill in any nicks. But usually when you're doing bigger areas, you want to try to smooth it out as much as possible. But with this big sander that I'm using, it sands pretty quick. And this is going to take probably 20 minutes to dry or so. I'm working on it down here now. And this stuff, doing the bodywork and stuff on your games, it doesn't need to take you months to do it. If you just work and just get to it, you'll knock it out in a day. You can easily knock out bodywork on your game in a day if you're willing to just put in the work. And once you've done a few, it gets easier and easier for you to do. So I'm going to basically just go around all the edges on this cabinet because this is particle board and these little edges like to show chips everywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off in a minute. Now down here I'm going to have to make a wider band of it because it was a little swelled up down here and I ground it down pretty good. And I'll show you what that looks like before I sand. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit more mixed up and then I'll be back when it's dry. Okay, this has been sitting for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna use my same sander again, the big one, and go over all these edges. Okay, now what you want to do on these particle board cabinets is use a hand block sander for the edges. So you just want to go like this. Okay, and I can see that this corner right here is a little low. All this is filled in. That's nice and straight and flat. I sanded off 90% of it, but if you look real closely, you could see that there is some filler, but only a little bit. But you got to go around the whole edges and get all that, because if you don't, it ends up showing through on your vinyl when you put the vinyl on the cabinet. So now you can see down here I'm gonna need an inner coat. Still a little rough looking. That's low, so I want to put an inner coat over top of that. So I'm going to take this block sander, go around all the edges just like I showed you. Then I'm going to put an inner coat on the spots that need it, and then I'll come back in a little bit when that sets up. We'll sand that down, and then at that point we'll be able to roll the cabinet over to the other side and put some more fiberglass resin around that perimeter on the other side. Okay, this is just about dry. Another minute or two, I'll be ready to sand it again. A good thing to know, if you're doing your body work, let's say in the middle of summertime and it's kind of humid out and your body feeler feels sticky a little bit after maybe a half an hour or 45 minutes, it still feels a little bit sticky. That's all you have to do is take a rag with some acetone, straight acetone, and just wipe over real fast over your body filler. What that's going to do is get rid of the sticky residue on the top surface and make your sandpaper last longer, because it's not going to clog up from the stickiness on the top surface. So on humid, hot days, you'll notice that this doesn't want to, feels like it's not cured, even though it is, and it's just the resins coming out of the filler to the top surface. So if you use that acetone and wipe it down, don't use nail polish remover, make sure it's just straight acetone, and you wipe it down, it'll get rid of that and make your paper last longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and get set up, and we're gonna sand this down again. Okay, now I gotta go around the edges again with my 80 grit on my sanding block. Make sure you go this way. Don't go this way. If you go this way, you're gonna start busting up the edge of the particle board. Okay, I'm gonna go around the edges with this, sand it down, then I'm gonna come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's two more quick things I wanna do before I blow this off and show you up close what it looks like. This is a piece of 180 grit sandpaper. I wanna take this 180 grit sandpaper and just hit these edges. Just like that. What I'm doing is just knocking down that really, really sharp edge that I created by sanding it, filling it, and everything. So by doing this, it's just taking that sharp edge off so that when you put your vinyl on, it wraps around the edge. Because I like to bring my vinyl into the center and then have the T-molding go over top of it, because that tends to hold it in place better and it makes the edges tighter. But I noticed that also with these particle board cabinets, if you lightly sand it at an angle like this, it prevents it from chipping as well, because it is not a blunt edge for you to catch. Also, that fiberglass resin that I put on here definitely strengthens up the edges of the particle board. Okay, so now I got that done. The other thing I want to do is I don't want to get my router out to router a couple little spots where the Bondo went into the groove. So, for instance, let me grab the camera here. I know that there's one right here. So this right here, a little bit of Bondo got in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little cutoff wheel, and we're just going to make a new little groove. And we're only really, what we're only doing is we're just cutting through the body work, the body filler. We're not actually cutting the wood. So if you're careful, we can get a pretty good result with this. Just like that. And just like that, we cleaned out the edge. And I'm just going to go around to a couple spots that it went into and clean that up real quick. You can see some on the bottom there, and then I'll be back. Okay, let's take a look here. Nice up close look. See how nice and straight that is? And that's not a chip right there. That's just wood showing through. But if you look, we have a nice clean edge all the way around the cabinet. It's nice and smooth. Now, I'm gonna get this rolled over. I'm gonna sand it like I did yesterday, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna put more fiberglass resin around the perimeter of it and let it set overnight. When I go to filler prime this with the automotive filler primer, I'm gonna put probably 3 or 4 coats on this cabinet. Then I'm gonna sand it down really well. And after I sand it down, if I feel like we need to put in our 2 coats, I'm gonna do it. And I might just do it no matter what, just for the simple fact that I want this cabinet to turn out really nice, you know, because it's a Paperboy. And anytime I have a cabinet, you know, some of these cabinets like Journey, Tapper, and all that, I try to do a really, really good job on them because I want them to be as nice as possible. So once I get the body work done on this Paperboy cabinet, which tomorrow night I should have most of it done, I probably won't video me doing the other side. I'm going to do it identical to this, but I'll come back tomorrow night and do a short video and show you where I'm at with it and the progress, you know, how far along I am. And then we'll make a video of me primering it. And then while this is drying for a couple days with primer, we're going to get back onto the pole position. We're going to get the artwork stripped off of that, take off the T-molding. I still got to take that rear vent off. And then we are going to start doing the body work on that, just like we did the body work on this, because it's particle board, particle board. So, all right, let me get this flipped over, sand it down, and then we'll put some fiberglass resin on. Okay, blown off, sanded down, blown off, ready for some fiberglass resin. This was a little bit swelled up here. Still feels like it might be a hair swelled up. You know what, I'm gonna sand that for another minute, and then I'll come back and we'll get some fiberglass. I thought I had it flatter than that. Let me sand that down a little bit more. Actually, I could do it on camera. Let me grab my mask real quick. We'll just hit that down a little bit more. and you'll see the difference in the color of the particle board. That is much better. It's getting the dust off. That feels perfect now. But as you can see, how like on the particle board, they have some sort of a protective coating on it. I don't know if they put like a urethane or something on here they put on here, and it really kind of sealed it up and made it nice and smooth. But now that I opened this all up, I opened all the pores up in the particle board right here. So putting a layer of the fiberglass resin is a really good thing to do to kind of seal that back up. And then once we do the automotive filler primer and we do 2 coats of it, or I'm sorry, we prime it and sand it twice, it's going to be a perfectly smooth flat surface for our artwork to go on after we paint it. So yesterday we did 3 ounces with 30 drops of hardener. I'm going to do another 3 ounces, but I'm going to put like 35 drips of hardener. It seemed like it took a little too long to set up, so I'm going to add a couple more drips of hardener to it just to make sure it's dry by tomorrow night, because it's almost 9 o'clock at night on Monday, and I'll probably be sanding this tomorrow around 6 o'clock. So it's going to be less than 24 hours. So we'll add a little bit more hardener just to make sure it's dried up. So I'm going to count 35 rather than 30. Okay. Now I'm going to mix this up real good, and we are going to get it around the edges again. This is the same cup I used yesterday. I just peeled out some of the fiberglass resin. Some of it stayed in the bottom, but it doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt anything. And we'll probably, I don't know if we'll have to do any on the front. I don't think so. I think we'll be able to just use some body filler on the front edges. The edges that take the beating is down here. The nice thing is this piece of plywood is actually lower than the side of the cabinet, which helps because it doesn't get dragged on the concrete. Plus you have your leg levelers, which I'm going to be putting new ones on, and the T-molding going all along the bottom also helps a ton. Put a little bit extra down here. I actually thought that the Bondo spreader worked really good yesterday rather than a paintbrush. So we're going to continue to use that method. So basically, I've been out here for about an hour and a half tonight, and I've gotten one side done. So if you think about it, and you started, let's say, early on a Saturday morning, there should really be no reason why you couldn't get all your body work done in a day on your cabinet, unless your body filler is not drying in time. That would be the only way, really, that you wouldn't be able to get it done. Once you get the hang of it, like I said, it goes pretty quick. And these methods definitely help. Using this resin and stuff, it just makes your life a lot easier. And the one thing you want to do is make sure you don't sand it completely off, but you want to sand it enough to scuff it up. It does soak into the particle board. So that is the good part about it. Old particle board, think of an old particle board as a sponge. It's going to absorb moisture, especially when it's older versus being new. I have some more arcade projects coming for other people. Once this Paperboy cabinet is done, as far as the body work and ready for assembly, I will take it to the basement. And then there is a Stargate cabinet coming that is getting turned into a Tetris. It's already been converted to a Tetris. I stopped at my buddy's shop today and helped him tear it down. So it's a bare cabinet right now. He's gonna do some sanding on it to get it prepped for me. So what I think I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna do his Stargate cabinet while I do my Stargate cabinet. So I will have two Stargate cabinets in here at the same time. Obviously his, we're just gonna paint black because we're gonna put artwork over it. But mine, we're gonna do the stencils and do the artwork originally, how they painted them on. So that's gonna be the next cabinet that I do the Stargate. And my buddies at the same time, which will be a Tetris. And we're gonna do some custom artwork for it. Don't know what yet, but I mean, we're obviously gonna do Tetris style artwork. He wants to see if we can't create like a full side art. So we're gonna see if we can do that for him. So that'll be kind of cool to knock out my Stargate, and all my Williams games are done. I don't think I'm ever going to run out of projects to do arcade-wise, really, to be honest with you. And I need to do some repairs to a few of my games too. Monitor repairs mostly. A little bit more here. Nope, I got a piece of particle board that flaked off. It's okay. Fill it in with some resin. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, that is going to end part 5 of the Paperboy. Part 6 will be filler priming this with automotive filler primer. I'll do a short video, maybe 1 or 2, as I get this side done in the front, because I'm not going to keep videoing the exact same process on every side. You guys saw what I did on the other side, and I'm doing the exact same thing on this side. Then I'll flip it on its back, do the same thing on the front, and then stand it up and do a little bit of work on the back to just fill in any chips or gouges in the back as well. I have to do the back door too. And then we'll do video 6 of us putting primer on this. Like I said earlier, we'll let this sit at that point. We'll jump on the pole position. We're gonna get that body worked, get that in primer. Once that's in primer, we'll sand down the Paperboy, re-primer that, sand down the pole position, re-primer that. And then at that point, they'll both be ready for paint. We're gonna paint the sides of the Paperboy white, just a matte white finish, and we're gonna paint the rest of the cabinet black, matte black finish. I think we're gonna do the same thing on the pole position too. I think we're gonna paint the sides white and then everything else black. The reason why I wanna do the sides white is because there's a lot of white vinyl, not a ton on the pole position, but on the Paperboy, I wanna use that custom artwork on the side. So I think just having white underneath it will make the colors a little bit more vibrant in the vinyl itself. And I have single stage satin white paint to use. So I think we'll probably paint both cabinets at the same time, since we're gonna be doing the same color scheme to both of them, just to knock them both out at the same time. And then the Paperboy will go in the basement. I probably won't work on it for a little bit while I finish up pole position, because I want to get that done and off to the owner. And then we'll work on those 2 Stargates at the same time. We'll probably paint both of those at the same time, or maybe not, depending, because my Stargate's got to get painted with the stencils, the red, the yellow, and the white. I think that's the only 3 colors on that. So I need to do the stencil kit on that one and do that. So I'll probably paint the sides of mine first, tape it off, and then I'll do the satin black on the front and back of mine while I'm painting the other Stargate cabinet satin black, because I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot that whole cabinet satin black. So, and then after I'm done with the Stargate, I think I wanna get my Tempest done. I've noticed that because I don't have the concrete in the back building yet, and I need to clean out this first bay and the back room, because I'm getting concrete poured, hopefully end of April, beginning of May. And I noticed that the Tempest cabinet took on a little moisture on the bottom. It was already a little swelled up, a little bit worse than the Paperboy and stuff is. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to grind that down and fix that or not. I might actually have to cut 6 inches off the bottom of the cabinet and put new wood down there. I'm not sure yet. If I do have to do that, I'm probably gonna put laminate on the sides of the cabinet and then put my artwork over top. Because if you put laminate on the sides of the cabinet after you've cut, like, let's say you've cut 6 inches off the bottom of this cabinet and you put a new bottom piece on. If you just body work that and paint it and then put your vinyl over top, I guarantee you within a year, you're gonna see that line where you put the 2 pieces of wood together. I don't care what you do or how you do it, that line's gonna pop back through that artwork, because it's just gonna shrink, it's gonna settle, and that's what happens. If I have to do that on that cabinet, I'll cut it off, we'll biscuit joint it together, we'll glue it together, we'll screw it together, whatever we gotta do, we'll get it fixed, and then we'll run a sheet of laminate on both sides of the cabinet. And what that laminate does is it bridges that seam of those 2 materials. And you do your body work and everything, and then you bridge it over with the laminate. Then when you put your artwork over top of that, it's perfect. You'll never have to worry about that seam again. It adds strength to it and everything else. So that might be how that project goes. And also we have a duck hunt that we're gonna be doing for my buddy. It's in a Versus cabinet. Well, it has Versus artwork on the side. It's a blue Nintendo cabinet, so we're gonna be doing a duck hunt for him. I think I need to recap the monitor. The game does turn on and stuff, but it's not registering the gun. And I'm pretty sure that the monitor is screwed up, but I'm not positive. I haven't messed with it enough yet. Could just be brightness on the monitor not up high enough or something like that. I don't know. We're probably going to rebuild it regardless. And the light gun might be broken for all I know. But that's another project we have to do. We have a ton more back here. He has a ton more that he wants done. The guy who has the pole position is looking for a Cubert. So if anybody has a good deal on a Cubert cabinet, please send me a message, because I know that the guy who owns this lives in Michigan. He's really, he pays people right away. So if somebody has one for a good price and they're looking to sell one, be nice if it were working but needs a bunch of cosmetic work. That would probably be a little bit easier. But let me know, send me a message, because I could forward it to him, and maybe possibly he would want to buy it. So all right guys, I'm gonna quit talking now, end this video, part 5 of the Paperboy. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, please like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. I think I hit over 3,300 subscribers today, which is awesome. I really appreciate it. I'm happy that everybody's watching and subscribing. I really appreciate it, and hopefully we keep going and we keep making these cabinets new again. All right guys, have a good night. I will see you guys later.